Las Vegas, 2009, Nicolas Cage sits alone in his sprawling mansion, staring at a mountain of unpaid bills. The man who once commanded $20 million per movie role now owes the IRS $14 million. His collection of castles, private islands, and even a dinosaur skull can't save him from the crushing weight of his debts. But here's the thing that'll shock you. Cage isn't alone. In fact, some of the biggest names in entertainment have faced financial ruin that would make your worst money mistakes look like pocket change. We're talking about MC Hammer's $70 million empire that crumbled in just 4 years. Tony Braxton, who went bankrupt twice despite selling 40 million records. These aren't just stories about bad spending habits. These are cautionary tales about the dark side of sudden wealth, predatory contracts, and how a single mistake can destroy decades of success. But here's what makes these stories truly fascinating. One of these celebrities found a way to avoid bankruptcy entirely, working his way out of debt through sheer determination. Another turned reality TV into a comeback empire. And one Oscar-nominated actor's downfall began with a motorcycle accident that changed everything. Let's dive into the most expensive mistakes in entertainment history. Our first story begins in an East Oakland housing project, where a young bat boy named Stanley Burrell was nicknamed Little Hammer by baseball legend Hank Aaron. But this wasn't just any bat boy. This kid had dreams bigger than the stadium he worked in. Fast forward to 1990, and MC Hammer wasn't just a household name. He was a financial phenomenon. His album, Please Hammer, Don't Hurt 'Em, became the first rap album to achieve diamond status, selling over 18 million copies worldwide. At his peak, Hammer was earning $33 million per year. That's roughly $70 million in today's money. Here's where the story takes a dark turn. Success became Hammer's greatest enemy. Picture this: a 40,000 square foot mansion in Fremont, California, complete with gold-plated gates that literally said, "Hammer time." Italian marble floors, a bowling alley, a baseball diamond, and multiple swimming pools. The annual maintenance alone cost $500,000. But the real money drain? His entourage. Hammer employed nearly 200 people, friends, family, bodyguards, dancers, and assistants with vaguely defined roles. This wasn't just generosity, it was financial suicide. The payroll hit $6.8 million annually, with Hammer burning through $500,000 every single month, just on his staff. The collapse was swift and brutal. By 1996, musical tastes had shifted toward grittier rap, and Hammer's pop-friendly style fell out of favor. But here's the critical mistake. While his income plummeted, his expenses remained sky-high. The $500,000 monthly payroll continued. The mansion's upkeep persisted. The luxury lifestyle never adjusted to reality. The bankruptcy filing revealed the grim truth: $13.7 million in debt against just $9.6 million in assets. Hammer owed over $1 million to the IRS, $500,000 in legal fees, and even $500,000 to NFL star Deion Sanders, who had tried to help his friend stay afloat. The Dream Mansion sold for $6.8 million, a devastating loss. His luxury cars, jewelry, and beloved thoroughbred racehorses, including a Kentucky Derby contender named Dance Floor, were auctioned off to pay creditors. But here's where Hammer's story becomes truly remarkable. Instead of wallowing in defeat, he reinvented himself completely. He became an ordained minister, used his fall as a teaching tool, and most surprisingly, became an early investor in tech companies like Twitter and Square. Today, his net worth sits at a modest but stable $2 million. Proof that sometimes losing everything can teach you how to build something sustainable. Now let's travel to Hollywood's golden era, where Burt Reynolds ruled as the world's #1 box office star for 5 consecutive years. This wasn't just fame. This was $60 million worth of pure movie star power. Reynolds owned multiple mansions, a 160-acre Florida ranch called Valhalla, with 150 horses, a private jet, and reportedly spent $100,000 on high-end toupees alone. For a man with that signature mustache and devil-may-care grin, life seemed unstoppable. But Reynolds' downfall came from 3 devastating blows that hit like a financial wrecking ball. First, his 1993 divorce from actress Lonnie Anderson became a public nightmare. The settlement wasn't just expensive, it was crippling. Reynolds was paying $15,000 per month in spousal support, plus another $9,000 monthly for Anderson's mortgage, while his own legal fees reached $47,000 per month. He later admitted borrowing money from friends just to meet these obligations. Second, Reynolds made a catastrophic business mistake. He invested heavily in restaurant chains called Po Folks and Daisy's Diner, losing up to $30 million. But here's the amateur error that sealed his fate. He personally guaranteed the restaurant leases. When the businesses failed, he wasn't protected by corporate shields. He had signed away his personal fortune to back a failing enterprise. The final blow came from a TV gamble gone wrong. While starring in Evening Shade, Reynolds took a $4 million loan from CBS, planning to repay it with syndication royalties. His plan required 100 episodes for syndication. The show was cancelled at 98 episodes. CBS sued for repayment, and Reynolds couldn't pay. By 1996, the man who had dominated Hollywood filed for bankruptcy with debts between $11.2 and $11.5 million. His beloved Florida ranch was sold to a school district for $3.8 million. In 2014, a 79-year-old Reynolds was forced to auction his Golden Globe Award and the iconic Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit just to pay creditors. When Reynolds died in 2018, his net worth was just $5 million. But in a final act of hard-earned wisdom, he structured his estate through a trust to protect his son from making the same mistakes. The man who couldn't manage $60 million took expert legal steps to safeguard his remaining $5 million. Here's a story that'll make your blood boil. Toni Braxton, with that unmistakable smoky voice, generated $170 million in global sales from just her first album. Her first 2 albums combined sold over 15 million copies, making her one of the best-selling R&B artists in history. So why did one of her first royalty checks amount to just $1,972? The answer lies in the music industry's most predatory practice, recoupment contracts. Under her deal with Layface Records, the label fronted all costs, studio time, music videos, promotion, travel, wardrobe. But then they recouped these millions from her tiny share of royalties. With royalty rates measured in pennies per dollar, artists remain trapped in perpetual debt to their own labels. As Braxton explained, what happens is they give you advancement on the next record, so you kind of stay in debt, in a sense. By 1998, despite global fame and massive sales, Braxton filed for bankruptcy. But this wasn't just about predatory contracts. She admitted to lavish spending, particularly on high-end home goods. "I love dishes and house things, so I kind of lost it a little bit on the houseware," she confessed. The bankruptcy was strategic, a business tool to void the oppressive contract and gain leverage for fairer deals. But fate had a cruel twist waiting. In 2010, just over a decade later, Braxton filed for bankruptcy again. This time, the culprit wasn't corporate greed, but personal tragedy. Diagnosed with lupus and microvascular angina, her health forced her to cancel her lucrative Las Vegas residency, instantly cutting off her primary income stream. Medical bills piled up as her revenue vanished. The second bankruptcy was more devastating, with debts between $10 and $50 million against assets of just $1 to $10 million. But Braxton's comeback story is perhaps the most inspiring of all. She diversified aggressively, launching Braxton Family Values, a reality TV series that ran for 7 seasons. She leveraged streaming economics, earning significant royalties when artists like Burna Boy sampled her classics. Through strategic catalog management and reality TV stardom, she rebuilt her net worth to approximately $10 million. Her journey reveals a crucial truth. For performers, physical health is their primary capital asset. Chronic illness isn't just personal tragedy, it's an uninsurable threat to their entire financial infrastructure. Remember that Vegas mansion from our opening? Let's return to Nicolas Cage, whose spending wasn't just extravagant, it was performance art. At his peak, Cage commanded $20 million per film and amassed a $150 million fortune. But his purchases read like a fever dream. 15 homes worldwide, including 2 European castles and the infamous LaLaurie Mansion in New Orleans, widely considered America's most haunted house. A 70-million-year-old dinosaur skull that he had to return to Mongolia. 2 albino king cobras named Moby and Sheba. A pyramid-shaped tomb in a New Orleans cemetery for his eventual burial. Cage later described this period as a personal grail quest, seeking properties and objects aligned with his fascination with mythology and history. This wasn't materialism, it was artistic compulsion. Then 2008 happened. The real estate crash left Cage overinvested in properties he couldn't sell without massive losses. By 2009, he owed the IRS $14 million, plus millions more to creditors. Here's what makes Cage's story unique. He refused bankruptcy. As he stated emphatically, "I never filed for bankruptcy." Instead, Cage chose brute force productivity. He moved to tax-free Nevada and began accepting high-volume, low-budget film roles, making 3 to 4 movies annually. This marathon of work was designed to generate massive cash flow to pay debts directly. The unintended consequence? A career renaissance. His willingness to take risks in bizarre independent films earned him cult status and critical acclaim. Movies like Mandy, Pig, and Dream Scenario reminded Hollywood of his genuine talent. Today, Cage has paid off all debts and rebuilt his fortune to an estimated $25 to $40 million. He proved that with durable work ethic and a marketable name, earning your way out of debt is possible, if grueling. These stories reveal crucial patterns that transcend celebrity culture. First, the danger of single-income streams. Hammer's empire collapsed when musical tastes shifted. Braxton's health crisis silenced her primary asset. Reynolds' box office appeal inevitably faded. Second, sudden wealth without financial literacy creates vulnerability. These individuals were often young and unprepared for managing 9-figure fortunes. Personal crises become financial accelerants. A costly divorce, chronic illness, or brain injury can trigger total economic collapse. Finally, the lifestyle of stardom becomes an unsustainable fixed cost. The pressure to maintain public success, mansions, private jets, large entourages, creates enormous overhead that can't adapt to income volatility. But these stories also reveal paths to recovery. Diversification saved Hammer and Braxton. Legal protection helped Reynolds' final estate planning. Sheer determination allowed Cage to avoid bankruptcy entirely. The lesson isn't that wealth is dangerous. It's that wealth without wisdom is temporary. Whether you're managing millions or thousands, these principles remain the same. Diversify income, live below your means, plan for contingency, and remember that true wealth isn't measured by what you earn, but by what you keep. Because in the end, the most expensive mistake isn't losing money, it's failing to learn from those who lost everything before you.